Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing? Hello, Emily. Andrea from Iowa. Oh my gosh, I miss you. It's so good to see you, love. How have you been? How's life during the day shift? Oh my gosh. Every once in a while, I come out of my dark little cavern here and embrace the sun, and sometimes it doesn't even burn me. Hey, Patrick B. I'm so happy you made it tonight. Hello, Mystic, my crazy old lady. My crazy old lady. Mine. No one else's. I don't share. Emily, you take note of that. Hello, Nana Laura. Hello, Melanie Copeland. That's okay. You are welcome to lurk. Oh, no. So, tell me, does that mean go out on the front porch or the basement? Because around here, it means go out on the front porch. Hello, Marquise Phillip. Hi, Ruth Ward. You are so sweet and so right. We have the best chat on the whole internet. I swear. We do. There's a reason I call it the best DSDS's. Hello, Shane. Hi, Shelly babes. Good to see you, honey. Hey, Brian Boggs. Good to see you. Glad you made it. Hi, Tiana Miller. I feel like all my friends showed up. Hi, Rocky Lennon. Hello. Pop goes the April. Would that be my little Emmy? My little Emmy? Hi, Emmy. How are you, sweetie? I am still exporting the clip. I decided I'd take a power nap at like quarter till. I just, put my head down for a moment, just a moment. But that means I didn't get the clip exported like I wanted to. Well, it's exported. The hard work is done. I didn't move it over to the Palmy Drive. to be able to, show it to all of you wonderful people. But it's an easy fix. It's an easy fix. I just have to click a couple buttons and then it'll be done. Oh, I don't know. No, it was a two-parter. It was a two-parter. Brian. Oh, Brian, you're something, all right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's gonna be a long one tonight. I hope y'all are ready. I really do. I hope y'all are ready. The clip started out as 2 hours, but after, the magic of taking out all the cuts and spaces and, all of that, I managed to get it down to, I got it down to an hour and 35 minutes. Well, hour and 36 minutes. So it's still pretty long, but that makes me very happy. To tell me. Oh, well, you're here for the best part. You are here for the best part because you know what the best part is. You know what the best part is? The best part's tail is wagging because the best part realizes we're talking about her. What? What? You put your head back down? Why did you do that? Why did you put your head back down? Come say hi. Come say hi. Oh, it's a pretty girl. You're pretty lazy tonight. That's what you are. You're pretty girl, pretty lazy. Hi, see Chinny. Hello. Yeah, I know. Yep. That's what I told Emily too. That's what I said. I said, well, by the time we get done with pre-chat. Aww. I said hi to you. Even if you didn't say directly hi to me. I know it was implied. Hi, pretty girl. We got a box yesterday. I didn't open it. We got busy. But we got a box yesterday, and I didn't order anything. Hi. Oh, now that I've said we got a box, now you want to be up here? No, because you just want to know if it's treats for you. But it's real. I don't think it's treats for you. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's treats because I can lift it. So we're going to open this quick. It might be treats. Ava's always ready for it to be treats. Oh, it's not even anything fun. It's medical supplies for my foot. Man. Gauze pads. Man, they made it look like it was something I was gonna have fun with. I can't have any fun with gauze pads. Like, oh, man. Now, the boxes are always for the kiddies. They take that. They take every box. I know, right? That wasn't cool. Thanks a lot, insurance. No, I got my hopes up. Here, I thought I was going to get kitty treats or something. It's getting better. It's, one step forward, two steps back. Yes, analogy used on purpose. I'm not saying that. I'll say wah, wah, wah. Yeah, I'll still take the deal because I don't have to buy it then. If my insurance sends it to me, then it's a win. It's still a win because that crap gets expensive. Hello, Catherine Gaston, sweetie. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, Billy went to go chase the box. Oh, I went outside today. Yes, I know. That in itself should just be the announcement. I should just stop there because that by itself is, magical. Did you eat it? You ate it, didn't you? I think he ate it. I'm sure he ate it. Okay, so I grow catnip every year, and it just comes back. It comes back and it spreads, and it always comes back kind of stronger than the year before. It's beautiful. It's an excellent pollinator. There's so many wonderful things about catnip. Anyways, it's grown enough that I could pull the first inch, but that, then you only get, 3 or 4. The leaves are small still, and they actually prefer it once it starts flowering. But this is the first batch of the year. So I went out and I picked catnip from each of the plants in my yard around my house. So that means I walked one trip around, took a minute, had to take a few breaks. My foot did not appreciate it. My spine did not appreciate it, but you know what? They've got to just suck it up, Buttercup. So I was pretty well chuffed about that. But anyways, I got them their first batch of catnip of the year, and immediately Billy just starts eating it. Oh, he was so happy. Earl too, both of them. Yes, sweetie. Yeah. It's more than just a little better. It's feeling a lot better. The tendon is still quite sore if I move my toe, but as long as I don't move my toe, it's fine. And everything else, like I said, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. No, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's what it is. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I am getting ahead, slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. True story. Yeah. I didn't see. Oh, there's one item that they didn't send. Oh, they didn't send the adaptives. I'm going to have to email about that tomorrow because the adaptives, they're what goes on the wound, like as a first layer, like to make sure that the gauze and everything else doesn't stick to it. It's super fine, and it's like it's got like some medicine already on it. Like, yeah. For what? I didn't do anything wonderful yet. Oh, for the yard and the catnip. Yes. Thank you. I already forgot about that. I had to see Philip's comment. Oh, I love it. I love it. Did you know people can drink it too? You can make it into a tea for you or your cats. It doesn't taste great, but it's part of the mint family. Some people like it. Yes, they really did. I think it depends on which direction you're going. Because if you're making progress, then it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. If you're not making progress, then it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back because you're falling more and more behind. I'm actually making some progress. It's just very slow progress, and there's hurdles along the way. Well, the thing is I have a giant tote downstairs from last year. Right as the season ended, I went out and I cut them all down at the base and threw it all in a tote. And like they get into the tote downstairs once in a while, but it's all dry. And so, I mean, it's just like bagged catnip from the store. And by now, I mean, it's been a year. By now, it's lost its potency because it's a spice. So its potency is about 6 months before it starts, dwindling. And it's been a year, and it's not bagged or anything. It's just been out in the open air, and they've had their fun with it. So they're ready for the fresh stuff. They're ready for their new batch. And I'm going to have to send someone down to the basement to haul up last year's haul so that I can dump it in the yard for compost. It'll get mowed over and broke down and become new catnip. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much. Oh, I did not even go in my email last night. I didn't even check it. I gotta send your email to the person we were talking to last night that wanted it. I can't remember offhand. I'm sorry. But I do remember I need to. I do remember I need to send your email to them. Nope. Catnip is it's a plant of the mint family, and cats eat it and roll around in it. It gives them almost like a sense of euphoria for a very brief time. Makes them super happy, energetic. It affects every cat differently. Something like 60% of cats are receptive to it. And the ones that are not receptive to catnip, they are receptive to kind of a cousin of catnip called silvervine. Distant cousin, short tail relative. It's the same conversation. We started here, and tonight's stream is about animals, so this is perfectly acceptable. Or are you meaning of me getting that I forgot about walking around the house 5 seconds after I said I did it? Is that what you're referring to? It's a thing. Thank you. I'm pretty proud of it. I love it. I always wanted to. Always. Since I was, like a teenager, I think. Since I found out you could, I wanted to. And it's because it's oh good, we both forgot things. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. I thought there was like this much in my head that said maybe it's Melanie, but I would rather say I just don't remember than call somebody else's name out and then be wrong and have them feel offended that I don't know. I can never win no matter what. So, Billy, why are you yowling? The treats are in here. I love you too, Shelly babes. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, cool. That'd be neat. I've actually seen some of the like golden rods that have been pulled up from the depths of the ocean in fisherman nets. They're absolutely stunning. There were actually 2 of them. I saw them. They're on almost every other court channel. I don't run the stuff that everybody else has run. I like finding unique stuff that nobody has run, or I like being the very first YouTuber to run a case and then have other YouTubers do it for like 12,000 views in a few hours. I'm just kidding. That's what it was, though. And mine was a bonus. We started with Hall. We ended with Hall. We had the Psycho Lady in between, all 4 portions of her, and like 2 other cases, and all the strings were tied up when I ended. You can't get better than that. Oh, you want to hear something really cool? So, okay. I was talking to Tammy tonight, and I had mentioned cilantro, I think. And she had mentioned coriander, and yeah, it was coriander. It's in Mediterranean cooking, right? And so I had said something, she had said something about how it tastes like soap. And I got to looking it up, and 1 in 5 people say that cilantro tastes like soap, and also that coriander tastes like soap. And the reason is actually in your DNA. There is a chemical and it's called aldehydes. And some people have a sensitivity to it. And it's a hypersensitivity. They're just more sensitive to the flavor. And aldehydes are used in perfumes and deodorants. So when somebody says that something that coriander or cilantro tastes like soap, it's because it really does to that person. And they're of only 20% of people who experience that. I thought that was so cool. Hi, Jody Gardner Love. Welcome. Yes, yes, yes. And oh, yeah, by the way, on that note, today we did our first coffee time with April chat in the Discord, and we played golf and we played poker, and then my daughter had a migraine, so I had to leave, and I put y'all on Bluetooth in my car, and Dunkin' Donuts ran out of donuts 100% when I was there trying to get my daughter a coffee and some donuts so that I could take them to her so she'd have something to eat and drink with her headache medicine. And yeah, they ran out of donuts 100%. So we had a great time. We had a great time. But yeah, we did our first Discord coffee time with April chat. And CE was there, and Patty P was there, and Crazy Old Lady was for a little bit, and Emily and Philip, of course, because they built it. And me. It was so much fun. I posted the link in the community channel when it started, and I probably might do that more often as far as like how I post it. So it's not just on the Discord, so other people can see it too. But we held it in Ava's place because once everybody starts, coming in and doing it and stuff, when we hold it in the Wake the Hell Up with April chat room, then that's gonna be that's a paid membership one where you've got to at least be the 99-cent level or above to be in it. So it's kind of like a members only perk. But right now I just want everybody to have access to it, and kind of get all the kinks worked out and get everybody used to it, get everybody signed up for the Discord if they're not already, or if they want to be. We just have fun. The game room is probably going to be my favorite thing. You can go in and play Scrabble and golf and poker, and there's just, it's so interactive. It's so fun. There was something that said know your meme, and I got all excited about it, and then I wasn't thrilled with that one. You pick a meme, and then somebody else picks a meme. Well, first you pick a statement that you want to pick a meme for. So it gives you two phrases, and so I think the one we chose today was when old people say when I was a teenager. Okay, so then you pick a meme to react to that, and then the other person or people pick memes to react to it, and then you vote on whose meme was your favorite. And it was okay, but not, it was more difficult to figure out actually than what it was fun actually playing it. Maybe it would have been more fun if it was just more than just me and Emily, but I don't know. Hey, that resembles my life. Oh my gosh, I'm behind. I'm behind. Oh, thank you, Sea Chinny. And tonight's is going to be rough for some people. What about coriander flour, though? Yes. And hello, Joey Bag of Donuts. You do have to be careful when you have a recipe that calls for coriander, because you got to make sure it's whether it's the seed or the flour, because you very well could mess up your whole recipe. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Aw, she would disagree vehemently. I think if there were more people, it might. If there were more people. But I mean, getting used to it. Oh, and Emily and Patrick were both learning poker for the first time. That was cool. The only way that I could think to describe it was, have you ever played Yahtzee? Well, it's like that, except with cards. You're trying to make, full house, flush, straight. You're trying to make all those things, but with playing cards. And then CE took over and filled them in. Yes, because we don't have to have our cameras on. The other benefit of it, cameras are 100% optional. So I don't have to worry about, am I still in my jammies, or, have I washed my hair, brushed my teeth, taken a shower, I can come on there and pretend I did all that. I don't know. I know you've got a wife, so somebody at some point wanted you in that game. Perhaps not. Perhaps not. I want to find out the rest of the games. And y'all might find me in there just at random. Just for the fun of it. For no reason at all. Yes, it asks everyone that, and it's a completely optional room. It asks everyone that because you might see a boob. It's 18 plus adult content. So people, they post inappropriate things, and by you saying, yes, I want to see that stuff, I want to have access to that chat room, it takes the liability off of good old me. So that that way people can't come back and yeah, I know, but it just takes it puts the responsibility of being offended on your shoulders and not mine. That's all. It's, we live in the age of everybody has to cover their hind end. Yup. 2 of them sometimes. You taking off, Shelly babes? I hope you have a wonderful night, sweetie pie. Oh my gosh, there was one time someone kept saying bye. And I was like, oh, yes, that. And that's exactly. Someone kept saying bye. And so I kept, bye. Thanks for coming. Bye doesn't mean goodbye. It means best YouTuber ever. I didn't know that. And I didn't find out for months. It was months later that I found that out. Yeah. I get that now. Oh. RC117, hey there, sweet thing. So happy you made it. Well, not yet. She hasn't subscribed yet. No. Give her a chance. Yeah, this is well, I sure hope so. At least long enough to hit that like button. Now the question is, have you had a stiff drink yet tonight? Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way. I'm just happy you're here. How come? Why is that? I mean, we're crazy and wild and loud and fun. No. Hey, you know what? My brother just called me right before I went live. He called me from Dominican Republic. I'm like, hey, bro, what's up? He's like, oh, I'm in Dominican. I'm like, you're in the Dominican Republic? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, well, that's new. That's new information I didn't know till now. And his wife just decided to take a friendly little vacation. They're pretty good. Billy's been roaming around the house just doing his thing just all the time. Usually it's when my daughter's not home, but every once in a while when she is home. And it usually means that her door is closed and he wants inside. He's so addicted to her. Ava's sleepy. She's a big old sleepy butt right now. She came over just for a minute, but she went right back up on the bed, man. She was just pooped. She had a big day. Yeah. She'll eat it too. She does. She has. Anything that the cats get, she's like, oh, well, maybe I'm supposed to have that too. And it goes vice versa. I mean, you've seen Billy try to get at Ava's food. They do that. They do that. Aw, Earl's taking a little cat nap. Hi, my grandkitty. Bestest grand kitty ever. Bestest baby boy. Aww. I love him. He's so sweet and he's so super soft. Hi, cutie pie. Meow. Meow. Look at you. Look at you. Let me touch your paws. That's how the kitties are doing. Billy really is. He's a very, very handsome boy. The one on the bed there, that's Earl. That's my little grandbaby boy. And he's part cat and I swear part ferret. He's so long and slinky. But he's got the primordial pouch that kitties have sometimes. Yes. Yes. They very, very much are. And they're very spoiled. They won't tell you that. I will affirm it. When they want to be, but they're also big giant babies. They're independent of sorts, and I think it's more aloof than it is independent. They are solitary hunters by nature, but they're very aloof and they're very much their own people. I gotta make more stickers. I sent Philip Heels like 200 pictures. 200 pictures of the PAWFURM. Yep. And that wasn't even all of them. That was just the best shots. I definitely need to make more member stickers. Aww, that's cute. They definitely, you know what? Give them their best life. That's all that you can do, really. Give them their best life. And get a rescue. Mutts have such better temperaments than purebreds. And the animal will pick you. You won't pick it. Don't try to force, don't go out and spend, $4,000 on a dog. Don't do that. Just go visit an animal shelter, once a month, twice a month. Just say you're thinking of getting a dog. And when you meet the right dog, there will be no question. Like, the dog will pick you. A much cheaper choice. Much cheaper choice. Yes. And that's truth right there. Nothing in the world will love you like a dog. And you know what? If you're one of those people who are going to spend the rest of your life single, like me, Ava snores better than any husband I could have ever picked. Labs are really great dogs. They are, just in general. They are one of the most loyal, loving breeds. There are good purebreds, don't get me wrong. But I have found most often the temperament of a lot of purebreds. Labs don't fall into this category, but a lot of purebreds, they're almost like, I want to say, more unstable mentally, but I think part of that comes down to the inbreeding, because it's some breeders, they're unethical and they'll inbreed to save money. It sucks. It sucks. But I have a very long scar on my leg from an inbred husky. They paid $3,000 for the husky, I think it was. Yep. And I swear it was inbred. No. I don't doubt that a bit. I do not doubt that, because I have to fight to get a sliver of a spot on my bed every night. Every night. And if I want my blanket, forget about it. It is claimed. Yes. That's I truly believe that. I truly believe that. Oh, they're good hunting dogs. They really are. Beagles too. My brother's got beagles. But beagles, you can't have just one. You can't. They need their brother or sister. It's just a thing. You have to have two. Or three. But I told my brother he needs to send me pictures of his beagle, because I want pictures of his beagle, because it's going to be another PAWFURM member. It is. Its name is Legally Beagly. Oh, cockroach biennials. My brother's got a teddy bear. It's a dark brown teddy bear, and it doesn't shed. It's just curly haired, chubby little thing. Super cute. I think its name is Charlie. He had a picture of the dog that was hung up on the wall, and one day his wife comes home and there were googly eyes on the dog on the photo. It was funny. It was so funny. I completely agree on the Akita one. I've never had experience with Great Danes or Cane Corsos. You don't think so? You don't think their hair would bother? It's not necessarily the hair. It's more the dander. It's more the shedding skin with the hair too. Like, I don't know. They've got oils and stuff in their skin. I don't know. It's weird, but not just because you're allergic to some breeds of dogs. Doesn't mean you're allergic to all breeds of dogs. Hello, Chadaskadam. Good to have you. Welcome. We haven't started the Pitchforks and Fire stream yet. Ooh, I've never heard of that breed, and I thought I knew them all. All right, quick little segue. Hold up. I gotta find out. I've never seen a Eurohound. Eurohound. Oh my gosh. It looks like it's got like the body of a Weimaraner. Hold up. I always forget how to do what I'm trying to do. It's so cute. It's so cute. Mm. Oh, blue-eyed one. Blue-eyed baby. Wow. Very sleek. Oh, I love that one. Look at the face. Oh, the pretty face on this one. I couldn't have one of these. I couldn't. Look at that. Look at that. I'd never put my camera down, the goofy thing. Oh, but the beautiful. Those eyes are like blue crystals. So pretty. So pretty. Thank you for introducing me to a new dog. Yep, fluffy little heart butts. Yep, that's my breed right there. I love them. I love Welsh Corgis. They're so cute. All right, guys, I'm going to get the stream started because otherwise it will be 3 a.m. before I get to bed with the way we go.
State ready to begin?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, and before we do begin, just for the record, the city has prepared a form that's entitled Animal Owner Surrender and Relinquishment Form.
Okay.
Your Honor, as the court's aware, this form has been used by the city in the past when discussing possible animal cruelty cases and violations with the owners of the animals.
Mhm.
Now, this form, Judge, it does have a number of declarations that would
He is pro se.
need to be acknowledged by initials and finally a signature of the owner of the animals. Again, I do have that prepared today, Judge. I'm not sure if Mr. Moley does want to consider that signing this declaration once he's able to review it and go through it. And then that would render, in the city's position, it would render the need for a hearing as moot due to the divestment of ownership at that point.
Okay, give me just a second because we are not on the record yet.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Give me just a second, Mr. Molly. I'm just gonna call the style of the case, gentlemen, and then I'll take up any concerns from either side, okay?
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, we're here today and I'm gonna call cause number 24016369 in the matter of Jose Antonio Molly. Mr. Molly, you are present here today from the county jail, correct? And Mr. Alonso, you will be representing the city of McAllen today?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So Mr. Molly, just so you're aware, this is a different procedure and a different type of case than the criminal charges that you may be facing that you're at the county jail for. This hearing is a civil hearing, and it's regarding the disposition of the animals that were seized that day. Basically, what the state has to prove and what they're asking to prove during this hearing is they will try to prove up that the animals were treated cruelly. And if they prove that up, then the court can take ownership of those animals away from you, and we can either rehome them or order them to be euthanized. I will tell you, I do not order euthanization in my court unless it's absolutely necessary. Now, you're able during this hearing as well to present any evidence that you would like to present. Because you are currently facing possible criminal charges, I do have to warn you that while you can testify in this case, anything you say could possibly be used against you later on in the criminal cases, okay? Now, what the city was talking about before we started recording is that In prior cases similar to this one, they have used a form which allows you to basically dispose of this hearing. Now, what that form does is that it asks for declarations. In other words, you'd agree to make some statements in writing that allow the city to seize the animals and to rehome them with Palm Valley Animal Shelter to be then fostered or adopted out. Now, if you do that, this hearing is moot. We don't have to have the hearing today, and it would not affect your criminal charges. That is a completely different, as I said, hearing. For this today, we're not deciding anything on the criminal case, okay? And so if you'd like, that's an option you can take. If you're interested in taking that option, you would just need to fill out the forms with the city attorney today, and then the case would be closed because it would be moot, and we wouldn't have to go through the evidentiary hearing today. Now, if you want to contest and you want to try to keep the animals, then we need to have the evidentiary hearing today on those animals. What do you think you'd like to do, Mr. Moore?
Well, first of all, Your Honor, today I was told by, while in the Hidalgo County jail, that I was coming down for a visitor.
Mm.
So then the policeman said, well, they lied to you. So I'm totally unprepared for this kind of evidence that you're requesting.
Sarge, he was given notice back last Friday. Okay,
Well,
so they served you last Friday with a
Yes.
paper notice of this hearing. So
Yes, but when they invited me to go to see the visitor, it was like lunchtime. It was 11 or so.
okay.
So I assumed that it was a visitor that was coming to see me and then bring me back. So
Okay.
that, because I do have some pictures that were used as evidence, I guess, Exhibit A, I think it is called.
Well, for one, that would be the other side's evidence. And for two, I'm very certain that the notice that they gave you a week ago had the time, whether they came and said you have a visitor, and which was probably, correctional officer humor. Regardless, whatever they said or did, or you knew, you were served with the hearing. This is not a surprise to you. So for all of the times that he is trying to gain sympathy from the judge and say, I'm not prepared because I didn't know this was happening, he had a week. He had a full week. He didn't prepare. This is Texas. Oops, sorry. This is Texas.
And those pictures, show that the animals, when they came out of my house, they were all healthy and well.
Okay.
I mean,
So Mr. Moldy, I believe they do have Exhibit A here today. So if those were the pictures you were concerned about being entered, those have actually already been filed with the court as part of the warrant. So I am aware of those photos, and they will be used today in these proceedings in case you want to ask any witnesses any questions about them or anything like that.
okay, I don't understand much, because I'm a little hard of hearing.
Okay.
But did you say that they can be used?
Yes, yes, sir. In fact,
Okay.
those pictures were filed as part of the seizure warrant. So we have a copy of those photos, and I believe the state intends to use those photos today, is my understanding, right, Mr. Alonso?
That's correct, Judge.
Yeah,
Well,
so they'll be available for you if you'd like to ask the officers or any witnesses any questions regarding those photos.
The other concern of mine at this time is, shouldn't I have legal counsel with me?
So this is a little bit different than a criminal proceeding, Mr. Moley, because this is a civil proceeding. This doesn't have any effect, like I said, on your criminal case. You only have counsel if you hire counsel for yourself. If you haven't hired counsel and we gave you notice over about a week ago, then you would proceed pro se, and you can even try your own cases here in our court.
Well, my only concern is also that, well, first of all, I'd like to say that I declare myself absolutely and 100% not guilty of these charges.
Okay, this
As-
isn't a criminal charge. So
Well-
as I said, there's no plea or anything entered in this case. This case is solely related to the city is attempting to take the animals away.
Oh.
Now, as I said, you can contest that and we can have this hearing. Or if you'd like to just surrender the animals because you don't want to get into any of the evidence that may affect your criminal case, you can do so by signing the form that Mr. Alonso has.
But Judge, He declared himself 100% innocent of these charges. Didn't you hear him? He's not guilty. He said so. Trial's over.
I will tell you, we have done this before in the other animal hoarding cases that we have. Those individuals decided to surrender the animals instead of have the full-blown hearing. So it's up to you what you'd like to do, but this does not affect your criminal charge.
Again, my concern is that, most of these animals, I'd say about 90% of these animals do not really do belong to me. They were assigned to me by other people that would bring these animals to me for their care. Because I have vast medical knowledge. And, even though, I don't have a license, to practice medicine or anything like that, but I was able to provide them for, as I received them, to provide them for their health and their well-being and their nurturing and their medications and their, vaccinations. So they're all taken care of. Like I said, when they come out of that.
If you have concerns, Mr. Molly, then I think we need to have a full-blown evidentiary hearing. So at this time, I'm going to ask the state withdraw any consideration of the surrender, and we'll go ahead with a full-blown hearing.
Yes, Your Honor.
I
City's
got
ready to
offer.
proceed forward for the purposes of the Health and Safety Code hearing today.
Okay, so Mr. Molly, what we'll do is, as I said, this is not a criminal charge. It's not part of the criminal case. The state is gonna have some individuals come up and testify about what they found that day, and they're gonna try to prove that the animals were treated cruelly. And just because I want to make sure that we know what definitions we're operating under. A cruelly treated animal under these cases is going to mean any animal that was tortured, seriously overworked, unreasonably abandoned, unreasonably deprived of necessary food, care, or shelter, cruelly confined or caused to fight with another animal, or subject to conduct prohibited by Section 2109, which is the bestiality statute. So if it meets any of those elements, those animals could be taken away. Mr. Alonso, is there a specific form of animal cruelty that the state is seeking to prove today?
Your Honor, under I believe the affidavit for the warrant, there were claims that there was the deprivation of necessary food, care, or shelter and or being cruelly confined.
Okay, so that's pretty much going to take out all the other ones. The only ones they're focusing on, Mr. Molly, today are going to be deprivation of necessary food, care, or shelter, or cruel confinement. So as I said, they're going to call up witnesses to try to prove that. They're going to get to question the witnesses first. And then after they're done, you get to ask any questions you want of that witness.
May I make a statement as well?
Yes, you may make a statement, but I will have to give you some admonishments before you do that. Because as I said, you are facing current criminal charges, and you have the right in those criminal charges, obviously not to testify against yourself. So we'll give you those before you want to make any statements up here on your own. But you're allowed to question their witnesses about what they saw that day as well. Okay. Now, gentlemen, how this will proceed is because the state has to prove that there was animal cruelty in order to seize those animals from you. They're going to have to put their witnesses up first. And then once they're done, they will say that they are going to rest their case. And then I will come to you, Mr. Molly. And if you'd like to testify at that time, that's when you would do so. Or if you'd like to call any witnesses on your own, you can do so as well.
May I say, Your Honor, that
Yeah.
they also took away my glasses, so I can barely see you even from
Okay.
here.
Oh.
So I don't even know who these witnesses are.
Okay, well, we're going to call them up and we're going to call their names. If you need to approach the witnesses at any time, let me know, Mr. Moldy, okay? All right. All right, Mr. Alonso, let's go ahead and begin at this time. This is for the seizure warrant in the matter of Jose Antonio Molly. What is the state's announcement at this time?
Your Honor, the city announces ready to proceed forward with the Health and Safety Code violation that is alleged.
Okay, who would be the state's first witness in this case?
Your Honor, first witness would be, I do call Officer Tammy Bernal with the McAllen Police Department.
All right, Officer Bernal, come on up. And just so all parties know, I will be typing while the hearing's going on. I'm just making notes on the testimony. All right, Officer Bernal, go ahead and take a seat. We'll get you sworn in. All right, Officer Bernal, let me have you raise your right hands. Officer Bernal, do you solemnly swear and affirm that everything you're about to say is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this case? So help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can go ahead and put your hand down. We are live, so anytime anyone speaks, I do need these microphones to be red. If at any point the light turns off, you would just press the silver button in the middle and it'll turn back on, okay? All right, let's go ahead and begin. Mr. Alonso, you will get to question first, and then once you're done, we will allow Mr. Molly to ask Officer Bernal any questions he has.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Officer Bernal, I know that we've had the chance to meet previously, but can you please again introduce yourself to the court and for the record?
I'm Officer Tammy Bernal. I've worked for the city of McAllen for 10 years.
Okay, and in your 10 years of service with the city of McAllen, what are some of your current day-to-day duties as a McAllen police officer?
I take calls for service. I respond to multiple things from welfares on people to animals, to traffic stops, and a variety of other things.
Okay, so I'm going to point you to a specific date, Officer Bernal, specifically April 4th of this year. Were you employed as a McAllen police officer on that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and were you dispatched to the location of,
Yes, sir.
and when you were dispatched to that location, did dispatch provide an indication of why you were being sent to that address?
Yes, sir.
And why were you sent to that address, officer?
It was to assist in serving a search warrant.
Okay, and for the search warrant, was that for a specific reason?
Yes, sir. It was to check the living conditions and of the animals inside of the residence.
Okay, so upon arrival at, what were the first steps that you took?
The first steps that we took was we attempted to knock on the door and we announced ourselves. And then we proceeded to open the front door.
Okay, and subject to the warrant, when you entered into the residence, what were some of your initial observations that you had?
When we opened the door immediately, I could smell there was a strong odor of animal feces and it smelled like ammonia, like urine from animals. It smelled like wet clothes. We had a hard time seeing due to, I guess there was a bunch of clutter, boxes piled up. There was newspapers all over the floor that were filled with feces and urine.
Okay, so I know that you said that you were met with the smell of feces and urine. Did you also observe feces and urine on the ground?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so after these initial observations, what were some of the next steps that you took?
Immediately when we walked in, I heard a dog barking. It was towards my right, which was the east side of the residence. I made my way that way and I located a brown big dog chained up to a toilet. The floor was covered in feces as well and urine with paper it was stacked with newspapers that were filled with urine and feces.
Okay, so you said a dog was chained up. Can you describe the chain, the status of the dog a little bit more?
Yes, the dog was, it appeared to have been there for a while. The dog was crying. The chain was really heavy it was too big for the dog. It appeared like it was hurting his neck. He appeared to have marks on his neck from how long the chain had been on.
Okay, and also in that area, did you observe any feces or urine?
Yes, it was the restroom that he was in was covered in feces and urine.
Now, when you see that first animal, did you see any other animals in that same room?
Not in that same room.
Okay, what were the next animals that you saw, or what did you observe next?
The next animals that I saw that I heard were coming from the room across. There was a door that was closed. I opened the door. I peeked in there because I didn't want the dogs to come out. I wasn't sure how many there were, how big they were. I was scared they were going to possibly try to bite me. But there was 2 in 2 kennels, which the kennels were too small for the dogs. The dogs were a little too big. They couldn't move around comfortably in the kennels.
Okay,
And
so,
then-
and you said there were 2 in kennels, so two dogs in the kennels?
There was 2 crates in there. Each crate had 1 dog in them, but the crates were too small for those dogs.
Okay, and in those crates, was there also the presence of feces and urine?
Yes, so the whole room was filled with feces and urine.
Did you notice or observe any other dogs in that room?
Yes, there was about 3 dogs that were running around in the area, all around the feces and the urine.
So all confined to that one room, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and again, just to be clear, in that one room, the floor, in your opinion, was covered in feces and urine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did the dogs, before you entered into the room, did they have any way of getting out of that room?
No, sir.
Now, for those animals in that room that you observed, in your opinion and through your training and experience as a McAllen police officer, would you say that those animals were being cruelly confined at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you say that they did lack the necessary or adequate care that's necessary for those animals?
Yes, sir.
And what's that based on, officer?
It's providing good shelter for the dogs, also being able to, there was no food in that room, in those two rooms near the dogs. I'm not sure if, when was the last time they were fed, and they also appeared not to be taken out at all from the room, or the dog that was chained up, it appeared to be there for a long time.
Okay, so after you went into that room, what were some of your other observations of the house?
Due to the clutter in it, we couldn't really tell where we were in the residence. But we walked back down the narrow hallway, and we located two more dogs in crates, but they had boxes on top of them that were also, the boxes were filled with papers, but around the dog and the crates, there was also urine and pieces all over it.
So with those two additional dogs and crates, did those seem to be small or adequate size for the animals?
No, the crates were really small and the dogs were struggling to be in there.
What did you see next?
We kept walking towards the back of the residence. I saw a parrot that was in a cage.
Okay, can we talk a little bit about the parrot?
I'm not gonna lie, you guys. It doesn't get any easier to listen to, but just know the animals are safe now.
So when you see the parrot, did you notice anything about its condition?
Yes, it looked, it was missing feathers. It looked like it was malnourished, like it wasn't properly being taken care of.
Okay, and I'm sorry for cutting you off there, officer. So you see the parrot, any other animals that you see?
We see, it was like 40 to 50 cats that were in a back room and like in a sliding door room in the patio area.
Okay, and you said 40 or 50 cats.
Yes,
So
sir.
all of them, any of them in crates in that patio area?
No, sir.
Okay, so all of them enclosed in one room, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what was the condition of that room, specifically the condition of the floor?
It was surrounded by feces and urine from the cats.
Okay, in your opinion and through your observations, any idea of how long that feces and urine may have been there?
It seemed like it had been there for a pretty long while.
Now, did you observe any other animals at that time or through your observation of the house?
We found one more dog, which was I believe it was the kitchen area. It was, and also in a crate. The crate was too small for a dog. I believe it was a husky.
Now,
And
through your observations of each of these animals, did you observe any food or water near these animals?
no, sir.
And that is including throughout the house, no indication near the animals that they were close to or made available to food and water?
No, sir.
What steps did you take after that, officer, after these observations?
We called animal control, in order for us to proceed. They assisted us in removing the animals. That we actually did find a turtle towards the end.
Okay,
We weren't able to see it at first because of all the clutter around the residence.
okay. And when you see this turtle, what kind of conditions was that animal in?
It was in bad conditions. It was also, and I believe it was in a crate, and it was also filled with feces and urine.
Okay, so once you started to extract the animals from the inside the property, did you have any other communication with any other individuals as to the status of the animals?
Yes, we had contact with a female from, I believe she was a manager from Palm Valley, and she told us that some of the cats had ringworm. They had ticks. They were just in really bad condition.
Okay. Did she indicate at any time whether or not the animals seemed to be receiving the necessary care?
She stated they have not, and some of the dogs, when we took them out of the crates, they couldn't walk properly due to them being inside of the crates for a long time.
Now, Officer Bernal, again, in your training and experience with being able to witness each of these 68 animals and the conditions that they were living in, do you have an opinion as to whether or not these animals were being cruelly confined?
I believe they were not given the proper shelter, and they were very malnourished and not well taken care of.
And would it be fair to say, based on the conditions and them having to live on or with their own feces and urine, is it your opinion that that could be classified as being cruelly confined?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Molly, do you have any questions for Officer Bedron? Mr. Molly, if you could press the silver button so the mic can pick up what you're saying.
Okay, Your Honor, how can I ask questions on somebody who is constantly not telling the truth? You know, I mean, I don't have feces and urine in my house floor,
Okay,
period.
Mr. Molly, so you can only ask questions right now. You can't testify. But if you'd like to ask officer questions about
quite-
what she saw that day, you are more than free to do so. The prosecutors have to do that all the time with individuals they feel might not be telling the truth, and you get to the fact that they are not telling the truth by asking them questions. So do you want to ask Officer Bednall any questions?
Quite frankly, Your Honor, I'm so fatigued about this whole experience that I'm not even prepared to even ask any questions. I cannot even think right
Okay,
because of the, all these things that are being, thrown at my face when they're really not true.
okay. So Mr. Molly, does that mean you don't want to ask Officer Bednall any questions right now?
But I'd like to ask Officer Bernal, isn't it true that you could have knocked on my door at 7 a.m. and, give me the search warrant while I was in my house instead of waiting in an alley with your vehicle, waiting and hoping that I would go out with my van and, and follow me right behind me, only to give me, fake traffic tickets
Your Honor,
so that you could detain me?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to relevance as to the purpose of this hearing.
I'm going to allow Officer Bednall to answer the question. Do you need it to be re-asked, Officer Bednall?
Yes, please.
If you could re-ask your question, Mr. Molly?
I'm sorry?
Can you re-ask your question?
I just want to say, wasn't it a lot easier for you to knock on my door and give me the search warrant so I could open the door for you and go and greatly meet you within my house instead of waiting for me in an alley, hoping that I would leave to go to work so that you would follow me behind me and then detain me with fake traffic tickets and, use some word called instanter, which I still don't know the full meaning of it, to detain me at the municipal court while you guys were entering my house in a rather illegal manner. I mean, that's,
Your
that's,
Honor,
Mr. Molly, you have to just ask her a question. You got to stop once the question's done. Officer Bednall, do you have any answer to Mr. Molly's question?
Yes, you were not detained illegally. You were pulled over due to defective headlights, sir, and you did not stop at a stop sign.
All right. Any further questions, Mr. Molly?
I'll just pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
I mean, those sound like valid reasons to pull someone over. So, and then if you happen to be detained, well, that is how traffic stops work.
Any further questions from the state?
nothing further for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, Officer Bednall, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to step down.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
may I say something? The other alternative on this issue was for me to sign a form, you said?
A surrender form, yes, sir.
Okay, because I see this thing going nowhere today.
Okay.
I'm not prepared for this hearing. I would like to ask, Your Honor, if, because these animals, most of them are not mine, but they were brought to me by other people who are the actual owners of them, by sending them to me, if I would be able to retain these animals for them to have the first right of refusal on their own.
Mr. Alonso, what would be the legal liabilities on that if he did sign the surrender? Because my understanding is that these animals can be seized even if they are not allegedly his because they were in his care, custody, and possession.
That's correct, Your Honor. So under the definition of the Health and Safety Code, the owner of the animals does include an individual that either has, and I want to make sure that I cite the full statute, Judge, but section 821.0213 of the Health and Safety Code
Mhm.
does define an owner as a person or includes a person who owns or has custody or control over an animal. So under that definition, Judge, that is why the city at this time is proceeding, because it is the allegations of the city that Mr. Molly did have or was in control of and have custody of the animals, so he would be classified as the owner in that situation. Now, Your Honor, if moving towards the relinquishment, I know this is going away from the actual purpose of the hearing, but the declarations that would need to be made are that Mr. Moley is the rightful owner of the animals. So if he doesn't feel that he can make those declarations, I believe
would need to
we would have to
proceed.
move forward with this hearing, Judge.
Okay. So Mr. Moley, the relinquishment would mean that you would have to say that you are the rightful owner of the animals. If that, you can't sign that, then we can go ahead and just proceed with the hearing.
What am I supposed to do with the hearing?
Mr. Moley, you need to have your microphone on.
What am I supposed to do with if we go on with the hearing? You know, I'm not ready to ask questions at this time, Your Honor. I'm not, you know, my frame of mind is not really
Mr.
with
Moley,
this
I'm
program.
required by state law to have this hearing within 10 days. 10 days would have been Sunday from when we first gave you notice last Friday. So I can't give any further extensions at this time. There's been at least a week's notice before this hearing began. So it's up to you, Mr. Moley, what you'd like to do today. If you'd like to sign the relinquishment, we can sign that, or if not, we would continue with the whatever witnesses the state's gonna call.
Would you repeat if there is any consequence, you say, if I sign this relinquishment?
What are the consequences and the declarations that you would be asking for on the relinquishment?
Your
Mr.
Honor, I will
Burns?
say that the reservation that the city would have at this point is that Mr. Moley has made representations that he doesn't believe he's the rightful owner. So the declarations in the animal owner surrender and relinquishment form do include a section that says that he would certify that he is the owner of the animals, each of the animals that are described in the attached exhibit. And as the owner of the animals, that he has the unrestricted and complete authority to convey, surrender, and relinquish the animals to the Palm Valley Animal Society.
Wah,
So,
wah,
but
wah.
besides for that, so that he would have to declare that he is the rightful owner in that legal document. But is there any other issues that, or declarations that the city is seeking? I know that in the other case, I didn't get to see all the declarations because they were done prior to the hearing.
Your Honor, and if I may, I only unfortunately have one copy that I brought with me. I apologize to the court, but I can present, if I can approach Your Honor with the form.
Yes, just like,
And him being misinformed is his own fault. It's his own doing, and it's probably by design. He had a week notice. 1 week. He could have, in that time, done something, anything. He did nothing.
review and go over those with Mr. Moley. Mr. Moley, what they're asking for from what they just handed to me is that the document has a couple of declarations. The first is very simply that you are the owner of the animals contained in Exhibit A, so that would be all 68 animals. The second declaration they're asking for is that you are agreeing that you have unrestricted and complete authority to convey, surrender, or relinquish the animals to Palm Valley Animal Society.
The people who sent those animals to him should face charges as well if they were aware of the conditions of the house.
Then the third thing they'd ask is that you notice or give your acknowledgement that you're relinquishing the ownership to the animals as well as any property rights to those animals to Palm Valley. And then you also are certifying that the animals have not bitten, scratched, or attacked a human or animal within the last 10 days. And then the next one is that you are relinquishing these animals to Palm Valley Animal Society, and you agree that these animals will not be returned to you, that they will have the exclusive and legal right to make all decisions and take all actions regarding the animals, and that the decision to euthanize any of the animals is within their discretion. You understand and acknowledge that this means that these animals that would be relinquished may be euthanized at any time after their arrival. Then you would also agree that you will not be contacted before the animals are adopted, rescued, or euthanized. And if you are relinquishing any dogs or cats, which I believe there are several in this group, I agree, or you agree that you will fill out any additional forms and provide any other further information that is requested by Palm Valley Animal Society. And then the last acknowledgement is a release of any employees, staff, agents, or representatives from either Palm Valley Animal Society or the City of McAllen's Animal Care Services Department from any claims or demands that you are connected with the animals. It may arise out of Palm Valley Animal Society's care of the animals, or may arise out of Palm Valley Animal Society's euthanizing any animals. And then you would just sign and date. So given that that's what they're asking for, do you think you would want to do the relinquishment, or do you think that we need at this point to continue with the witnesses?
Again, I would like to ask you, Your Honor, if by signing this relinquishment, I would have any consequences with the criminal matter.
With the criminal trial, no. From my understanding, Mr. Alonso, this does not admit any animal cruelty. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor. So with the signing of this document, for purposes of this hearing under the Health and Safety Code, the city's position is that it would render the ultimate issue for the court to decide
Moot.
for final disposition of the animals or of ownership of the animals, Judge. It would render it as moot. But as far as any bearing on any potential criminal charges or ultimate criminal trial, I don't believe that it would have any bearing on that, Judge.
Yes.
Yes, but you're not sure.
No, so what he's saying, Mr. Molly, is that you're not making an admission in this form, and we can pass it to you so you can read it, that the animals were cruelly treated.
Because
You're
in
just-
fact, they weren't.
You're just turning them over to Palm Valley Animal Shelter. If there was an admission of that, it could be used against you later in the criminal trial.
Okay, say that again, please.
So if there was one of those in here, that possibly could be used against you later at the criminal trial.
If there was one of those, what?
If there was one about animal cruelty, but there is not in here. It does not include any admission of animal cruelty.
68 times. Once for every animal that was in his care.
So you're not making any kind of statement about the animal cruelty that could be used against you later at the.
But I'm making a false statement
Your
by
Honor, at
signing
this
this
time,
form,
I-
by
I-
saying,
I would ask that the hearing proceed.
Yes,
just
if you're
with-
saying that would be a false statement, Mr. Molly, we cannot allow you to sign this, so we are going to have to proceed with the witness. You can come get your documents, Mr. Alonso. All right, so let's continue with the witnesses. Since there's unable to be a relinquishment, who would you call next, Mr. Alonso?
Our next witness on behalf of the city would be Officer Domingo Chapa.
All right, Officer Domingo Chapa. I'm sorry, before we proceed any further, Officer Bernal, can I have your badge number? Okay, go ahead, Chapa, come on up. All right, Officer Chapa, let me have you raise your right hand. Officer Chapa, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this case, so help you God? All right, go ahead and take a seat. And Officer Chapa, if you can just make sure your mic is on and the red light is illuminated so we can capture your voice for the recording. All right,
I'll just ask if they speak, I'm a little hard.
a
of
little
hearing.
up, okay. Gentlemen, if you can ask your questions a little louder because Officer Chapa is a little bit hard of hearing, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Alonso.
and me too, please, Your Honor.
Okay, and as the sergeant told you, Mr. Molly, if you're having trouble hearing, you can always turn that mic off with the silver button and then it acts as a speaker so you can hear us a little bit better, okay? All right, Mr. Alonso, let's go ahead and start with your questions of this witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Chapa, again, I know we've had the opportunity to speak before, but can you please introduce yourself to the court and for the record?
Yes, Officer Domingo Chapa, ID number 7862,
And Officer Chapa, how long have you been employed with the McAllen Police Department?
21 years.
In those 21 years, what are some of your various roles or duties with the department?
Traffic control, taking calls for service, effecting arrest of criminals.
During those 21 years, do some of your, one of your roles or duties include the check of the welfare and or living conditions of both people and animals?
Yes,
Okay. Now, Officer Chapa, I'm going to direct your attention to a specific date, specifically April 4th of this year. Were you employed and working with the McAllen Police Department on that day?
yes,
Okay, and were you dispatched to,
yes, correct.
can you describe to the court the reason that you were sent to this address?
After investigators obtained a warrant, we went to go check the welfare on several animals.
Okay, so once you were at the location, what were some of the first steps that you took?
We knocked on the door, making sure that nobody else was inside the house, and then we made entry into the home.
Okay,
Once
so-
inside, I could smell a strong odor of cat feces, urine, both from cat and dogs. There was several dogs barking. The place was very crowded, so we had just a very small space to where we can walk through.
Okay, and again, I know that you said that you, as soon as you entered, you were caught with the aroma of feces and urine. Now, through your observations, did you also observe feces and urine scattered around the floor?
Yes.
Can you describe that a little bit more, what you
More,
saw?
more inside some of the kennels, and later on where we found the cats in the rear room, there were also feces on the
Okay,
ground.
so, and you mentioned, and I apologize for cutting you off, you said that when you entered the house, you saw a number of things. Can you walk us through exactly what you saw, some of your observations?
When we first walked in, like I said, there was a foul odor. There was a lot of debris, boxes stacked up, some almost to the ceiling, creating a very narrow pathway to get through or around the house. Some of it appeared to just be trash, just debris, kind of a hoarding.
Okay. Did you see any animals when you were there?
Yes.
Okay, which animals did you see first?
Right when I walked through, I went straight to the back side of the house, which is pretty much on the north side. I passed a kennel with appeared to be a husky type dog in a small cage. As he was barking, as I continued, I did run across maybe about, I want to say 5 kennels. It was hard to tell if there was anything in them because they were stacked with cardboard and paper towels.
Okay, so
And
let's talk a little bit more about those kennels. So when you passed by that first kennel with the dog, can you describe the conditions that you saw of that kennel?
he was kind of crouched in the kennel. He was a little oversized, probably for the size of the kennel he was being housed in.
Okay, anything else that you saw in that kennel?
There was some feces in there.
And now, not just inside that kennel, how about the status of the area around the kennel? Can you describe that?
There was several boxes stacked on top of the kennel. There was very little room for anybody to maneuver in there. I mean,
Yeah, this wasn't kind of a hoarding situation, officer. This was absolutely a hoarding situation. I'm surprised they didn't have to call the fire marshals in. From the description of this house, I'm really surprised that they didn't have to call the fire marshals in to get an order to, for order of cleanup or however they do it when the house is in such clutter that it's a fire hazard.
Okay, and you said there were some other animals in kennels. Can you describe those?
yes, most of those were cats. It was hard to tell at the time because, like I said, they were stacked with paper towels and cardboard. I used my flashlight to look into the kennels and found that there was one, and in some cases, 2 cats per kennel. They had very limited space that they could move around in, as most of the kennel was occupied by the cardboard and paper towels.
Okay, and in your opinion, what was the purpose of this cardboard and paper towels that you saw?
To me, it appeared that, rather than cleaning out the kennels, they just kept stacking cardboard and paper towels to prevent from having to clean out the kennels.
Okay. And just to be clear again, you mean clean out the kennels for, there was feces and urine?
Yeah, there
in
was feces and urine.
Okay. So once you made those observations of those kennels and those animals, what did you do next, officer?
I moved towards the end of the house where there was a macaw or a parrot. It appeared also that it was pretty bad condition. It was dirty. His feathers looked a little bit looked like he was missing some feathers.
Okay, and can you describe the area around that macaw or parrot?
Yeah, it was filth. I mean, most of the feces was just dropping to the floor underneath it, but it looked like it hadn't been cleaned for probably months, maybe even years.
What observations did you make next, officer?
There was a patio in the back. It was an enclosed patio where I didn't get an exact count, but at least upwards of 50 cats living in this one area. They were living in filth.
50. 50. 50 cats in one room. Closed in.
Okay, can you go more into detail? So you're saying living in
Yeah,
filth?
there was feces, there was urine. It looked like the feces had been trampled on to the point where it looked like it was just part of the floor.
Okay, and you said this was in a back patio area?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, from your observations, did you see any way for the animals to be able to maneuver out of that room?
No.
So it's safe
Yep.
to say they were confined to that room, and
Correct.
only that room? Now, through each of the animals that we've described so far, including the dog and the cats and kennels, the macaw parrot, and I believe you said 50 cats that were in the back area. In your opinion, and through your training and experience as a McAllen police officer, would you describe these conditions as the animals being cruelly confined?
Yes, I will.
And can you explain to the court why you believe that, or why that's your opinion?
I believe that, the mere fact that they were living in or being housed within those locations where they were sleeping and laying down in their own feces, urine.
Did they have any way, any of the animals, any way to remove themselves from that situation?
No.
Did you have any other observations through the house, officer?
Yeah, and inside the kennels, where the cats were being housed, I did lift, some of the, cardboards once the cats were removed and saw infestation of cockroaches between each one of the layers.
Okay, what do you mean by that? How'd you? notice that?
Once the cats were removed out of the, kennels, I started removing some of the cardboard, of course I had gloves. But as I kept removing each one under each layer, there was just literally, hundreds of roaches under each layer, small ones, which pretty much showed a sign of infestation.
And it's your opinion that this infestation, and your observation that this infestation was directly in the kennels with the animals?
Yes.
So with all this information, officer, what'd you do next? What were the next steps?
We pretty much contacted animal control or animal care, which they also called the Humane Society to come out and help out in removal of the cats. We did assist in removing some of the cages from the house.
They needed every official from every agency, even remotely related to animal welfare, for this.
Okay, did you learn anything else about the condition of each of the animals when you did this removal?
Yes, I did question Miss Wright, I believe was her name, from Humane Society, and just asked her opinion as to the welfare of the cats. What did she think their condition was? And she says they were pretty poor.
Okay, did she go into any further detail about
Hey,
why she said they were poor?
Yes, she detailed that that each cat, or the majority of the cats, had looked like almost their ears were kind of clipped, and she mentioned that those were ear mites eating away at their ears. She said that they also showed severe mange and possibly ringworm.
So
With this
bad.
information, do you have an opinion as to whether or not the condition of these animals, were they receiving the proper and necessary care that they're supposed to?
No.
And was that also indicated by Ms. Wright, who you spoke with?
Yes.
Did you take any other steps, officer?
No.
So my final question to you, the 68 animals that were in the property, you were able to see and help with the extraction of each of those animals, is that right?
Yes.
And in your opinion, with each of those 68 animals being inside the house, is it your opinion that these animals were being cruelly confined and not given the proper care that they were supposed to be given?
Yes.
Thank you, officer. Your Honor, pass the witness.
All right, Officer Chapa, before I pass you to Mr. Molly, can I get your badge number as well, sir?
7862.
All right. Mr. Molly, any questions for Officer Chapa?
In your opinion, is there one animal that was properly taken care of?
As far as being fed, I mean, some of them did look like they were a little overfed. But as far as the living conditions is what we were really looking at.
how do you know that they were not fed
No,
or given water?
no, I believe that they were given water and being fed. It was more the living conditions that we were in question.
So you didn't see any of the animals that were dehydrated or lying on their backs or, dizzy or nauseous or vomiting or throwing up or anything like that, right?
No,
True or false?
I said no. I didn't see that.
I guess I passed the witness too.
Okay, any follow-up questions, Mr.
Briefly,
Alonso?
Judge.
All right, Officer Chapa, you may step down. Any further witnesses from the state, Mr. Alonso?
Yes, Your Honor. Next state would call Officer Alberto Flores.
Officer Flores, what's your badge number? All right, Officer Flores, let me have you raise your right hand. Officer Flores, do you solemnly swear and affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God in this case? All right, go ahead and take a seat. Mr. Alonso, you may begin questioning.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Flores, how long have you been employed with the McAllen Police Department? Okay.
Can we make sure his mic is on?
Approximately 20 years.
And Officer Flores, similar to other witnesses, can you please explain some of your day-to-day duties or responsibilities with the McAllen Police Department?
Enforce traffic laws, criminal laws, respond to calls for service.
Okay, so one call to service or one call that you received, was that attached to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what was that call? Why were you at that location?
There was a call to go assist the refs to a search warrant. There's possible concern of cruelty to animals.
And just for purposes of clarification and for the record, Thurn Avenue, is that in the city of McAllen?
Yes, sir.
And that's in the county of Hidalgo,
Yes, sir.
in the state of Texas?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, officer. Now, what were some of your initial first steps when you made contact or when you arrived at the property?
Yeah, I arrived at the residence. We approached the door. Officer Bernal Domingo Chapa knocked on the door. There's no answer. We went inside the residence.
Okay, once you went inside the residence, what were some of your initial observations or
Yeah.
impressions?
The first thing that struck me was the strong smell of ammonia, and which from cat urine and dog urine.
Okay, and again, I know you're saying the strong smell of urine. Did you actually observe any urine at the location?
I didn't see any urine, but I did see the floor covered with feces.
Okay. Now, officer, once you make entrance into the property, did you observe any animals?
Yes, it's a dog and a kennel. Is the first dog that's the first animals I saw. It was in a kennel.
Okay, and how would you describe the conditions of those dogs in the kennels?
That one, the kennel was really dark. There was boxes stacked on top of it, and it was really hard to see the dog in there. But it looked like it was too big for that kennel.
Okay, did you see any other dogs at the location?
Yes, right after that dog, we turned to the right. It's a restroom. There was a dog tied with a heavy chain on it.
Okay, so tied with a heavy chain, can you go into more detail on that? What did the dog
Yeah,
look like it can move?
Yeah, the dog, he was able to move, but there was a lot of debris. There was feces all over the restroom.
Okay, and you said he was able to move.
Yes.
Was his movement limited in any by the chain at all?
Yes, it was limited.
Okay. So once you see these dogs, what were some of the other animals that you saw, officer?
Yeah, right across the hallway, there was a room. We could hear several dogs barking. We didn't open the door because we didn't know if they were aggressive or not, but we could hear them barking. So we waited for animal control to come and open the door for us.
Okay, and once they did open the door, did you make any observations in that room?
Initially, I did not go into that room. I was doing something else.
Okay, doing something else. Is it safe to say you were observing other animals on the property?
Yes, as we kept making our way around the house, we went towards the back room. As we approached the back room, I noticed as the smell of urine got stronger, the smell of ammonia.
Okay,
And the back room was full of cats.
Approximately how many cats were in there?
50 or less.
Okay. And what was the condition of that room, officer?
Yes, the floor, that's something that struck me, was also the floor was covered in feces. I just kept stepping over the feces. You could hardly see the floor.
Did you observe any other animals, officer?
Yes, right in front of that back room, there was several kennels with cats, and some of them there were two cats per kennel. And I noticed that some of the kennels were like halfway up with cardboard.
Okay. In your opinion, why was that?
It appeared to me that instead of cleaning the kennel, the person in charge of the animals would just place a cardboard on top of the feces and urine instead of cleaning it, and so on. He would just stack up cardboard after cardboard.
And in your opinion, did this adequately clean where the animals were confined to?
No.
Why not?
You could see some of the feces and cockroaches between the cardboard.
Did it seem as though they were forced or being forced to live in those conditions? They had no other way to freely move about?
No, due to the large stack of cardboard in them, it looked like they were having a hard time maneuvering in the kennel.
Did you personally observe any other animals at the property?
I saw a macaw right in front of the back room, the bird.
Okay, and what was the condition, in your opinion, of that bird?
Yeah, it looks like some of the feathers were missing.
Okay.
Looked dirty.
Now, are you aware that there was a turtle that was found on the property?
I was aware, yes.
Okay, did you make any observations of that animal?
I did not get to see the turtle.
Okay. So, and is that you didn't get to see the turtle at any point or during this course of your investigation in the house?
At any point, I did not see it.
Okay. So is it safe to say that the animals that you observed were each of the cats, each of the dogs located on the property, as well as the parrot or macaw? Are those all the animals that you were able
Yes.
to witness? Okay. And in your opinion, through your training and experience and your observations, officer, were those animals being cruelly confined?
Yes.
Why is that your opinion? What are you basing that off of?
They were limited in mobility. They had to live and eat over their feces, their urine. Yeah, the stench of the urine was really, really strong.
Okay. Do you believe that these animals were receiving the necessary care that they require?
No.
Thank you, officer. Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Any questions, Mr. Molly?
I'd like to ask the officer, were the animals, with lights inside the house? Did the house have lights on?
It was dark. Most of the house was dark.
Didn't answer the question. I said, did you see lights on?
Did I see lights on? I may have seen one light,
In each room?
not in each room.
I'm sorry?
No, not in each room.
Okay. What is the definition of you finding feces on the floor? Exactly, can you tell me?
It was brown. In every passageway we could walk, there was it was a thick film of a brownish film all over wherever you could walk and
So-
in the back room.
So you would say that those feces would stick on your shoes?
Some of it, yes.
Did you find bags of food and cans of food ready, for the administration of these food products to the animals?
I did observe cans of food and bags of food.
When you say the parrot had feathers that were missing, what kind of feathers were they? Were they missing on the wing, on the tail, on the head? Where?
Wings and tail.
Yes, he did live in this house. And I don't know how. Because I know how bad the cat box smells. just when it's a few days. And we're talking a long, long time of buildup and urination and feces. Like, how did he not have respiratory issues? I'm sure the animals all suffered from them. It would burn your eyes and burn your nose. And he did not even, it didn't faze him. Yes, Rocky Lennon, he did. He just asked the witness to describe the poop. I don't know if he was looking for color, taste, texture, consistency, what. But that was a thing. Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing with the parrot, it missing wings on its tail feathers, or I mean, it missing feathers on its tail feathers or its wings. It could be one of two things. Either he tried clipping its wings so that it couldn't fly, which if I understand correctly, if you do that to a parrot, it's forever. You're grounding them. Or it's alopecia, where it's losing its feathers from stress or mites or something else. Regardless, I mean, parrots should not, there's no reason for them to lose feathers or to have their feathers clipped.
That's the witness, I guess, Your Honor.
Okay, any follow-up questions, Mr. Alonso?
Nothing further, Your Honor. May this witness be excused?
Yes. Any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. State calls CSI Officer Francisco Barrera.
All right, Officer Barrera. All right, Officer Barrera, if I can have you raise your right hand. Officer Barrera, do you solemnly swear and affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this case, so help you God? All right, take a seat, and you're going to turn on your mic by pressing the silver button. The red light needs to be illuminated to capture your voice. All right. Mr. Alonso?
Thank
may
you, Your
begin.
Honor. Officer Barrera, can you describe to the court some of your roles and responsibilities with the McAllen Police Department?
I'm a community service specialist with the CSI unit, and the duties I have there is to document and process the scene that we are dispatched to, and possibly the documentation and collection of any potential evidence.
Okay. Does that documentation include taking photographs sometimes?
Yes,
Okay. Now, Officer Barrera, were you called to on April 4th of this year?
yes.
What was the reason? Why were you called out to that location?
I was called out to assist with investigators in regards to a search warrant that may include the welfare check of certain animals.
Okay. So what did you do while you were at that property, officer?
I waited until officers made initial entry inside their residence to make sure it was clear. And once it was clear, I started to document by photographing the property, the residence outside and inside.
Your Honor, may I approach
Yes, you may.
the witness, Your Honor? Your Honor, I'm going to be showing Mr. Moley what's been marked as Exhibit B for purposes of this hearing.
Exhibit B?
Exhibit B, Your Honor.
So you got the
For
foundation
the record, I'd
laid.
like that Mr. Alonso is showing those photographs to Mr. Moley. All right, Mr. Moley, any objection to the photographs?
There is a couple of pictures that I don't recall that particular scene.
Okay.
but, You know.
I believe those were not taken when you were there, correct? You were not
yeah,
present when they were
no,
taken?
Of course
Okay,
not,
okay.
yes.
And I did hear you ask Mr. Alonso for a copy of those. I know that you can request a copy for the criminal case through your attorney. But Mr. Alonso, I'm assuming you tend to offer these into evidence, is that
That's
correct? We don't have any problem, Mr. Moley, with getting you a color copy of those here from our copier if you need them. Okay. Any objections to him entering those into evidence, Mr. Moley? Okay, all right. No objection, we'll go ahead and enter those into evidence. Mr. Alonso, were you going to question the witness with these photographs? All right, you have permission to approach the witness now.
Thank you.
We don't see them.
I'm gonna show you what have been previously, one, been admitted as State's Exhibit A, or City's Exhibit A, as well as Exhibit B. If these are correct.
But they describe
I'll
them.
give you a quick second to be able to look through those. And once you do, can you indicate whether or not those are photographs that you took?
Yes, I did take these photographs.
So Officer Barrera, I'm going to ask that you look at what's been marked as Exhibit B. Can you describe to the court what is being depicted in these photographs?
So one of the pictures has a yellow place card of a brown Labrador with the number 1.
Okay, and more specifically for the photographs of the inside of the house, can you describe the conditions on the inside of the house through those photographs?
There was a lot of clutter, items that it was pretty hard to maneuver around. So these were general photographs taken of the residence just to show an overall idea of where it takes place or where it's
Okay.
happening.
And through your observations of the home, what were the conditions like? Was there anything on the floor throughout the house?
Like I said, it was very hard to maneuver around. There was a lot of clutter around the residence. I noticed a very strong smell of feces, urine, particularly towards the area where with the cats. There's a very strong smell of ammonia. I did notice areas where there was feces and newspaper covered in feces and possibly urine.
And is it your understanding that these areas that were covered in feces or urine, that's where the animals were being confined to?
Yes.
Did you, besides taking these photographs in both Exhibit A and B, did you take any other steps, officer?
So I took additional photos of the residence, general photos of the hallway towards where some of the animals were being kept, where the cats were being kept particularly. Once they took the one where the dogs were kept in in the rooms, once animal care took them out, I took general photographs of that room.
And is it your understanding there were 68 total animals that were taken out of that residence?
Yes.
Okay. And in your opinion, through your observations and through the photographs that you took, is it your opinion that those animals were being cruelly confined in that residence?
Yes.
Can you explain to the court why that is your opinion?
So once they took one of the animals that was chained to the toilet, once I started taking photos, I noticed an additional chain that was there. I also noticed that there was one red bowl for water where 3 dogs were being kept. I took photographs of that, as well as the area where all the cats were being kept towards the back. I noticed there was a very strong smell of feces and urine, particularly the smell of ammonia. I only saw one blue bucket of water that was halfway filled.
Thank you, officer. Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Any questions for CSS Barrera, Mr. Molly?
Yes, you said there is you saw in a room a bucket of water that was red. Is that true?
I did see one container of water, a small red tray, I guess you would call it, in one of the rooms.
Okay, and how many dogs in that room were free to go to that water?
I believe there was 3.
Could you describe them?
I believe the 3 dogs in that room were small to medium-sized dogs. There was
How many of them?
3. There was 3 dogs in that
Can
room.
you describe the breed of these dogs?
I believe the types of dogs that were in that room was a small to medium-sized black dog with some gray fur,
Okay,
as well as you call it a a medium-sized dog with white and reddish or brown fur.
Okay. And the third dog?
The the third animal was a beige color, medium-sized dog as well.
What kind of dog was that?
I could not say what kind of animal it was.
Would you say maybe it was a Chihuahua?
I cannot say. All I could say is that they were all medium-sized animals with different colors of fur.
But it is obvious here in the valley, everybody knows what a Chihuahua looks like.
I'm going to object to relevance, Judge.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Would
sustain
you,
that.
would you know?
Mr. Molly, I'm gonna
sorry?
go ahead and sustain the state's objection. I don't think the animal breeds are relevant at this time, especially since this witness has testified that he was not involved in the removal of the animals, just in the photographing of the scene afterwards. If there's a state's witness that does have knowledge of those breeds, you are more than welcome to question them on it, but I don't think it's relevant at this time with this witness.
Who will those be?
I don't know who they're gonna call for that, sir. So I don't have any idea of who they're gonna call ahead of time. I don't get to see any evidence ahead of time. So if you could move on to your next question, Mr. Molly, I'm gonna go ahead and ask that you not ask that previous question.
Did you see in the cat room that there were some areas that were destined for the animals while they are free to roam around to go and do their numbers 1 and 2?
I did see the room.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I did see the room.
Yes, but did you see that in the corners of that room, there were some areas that were destined for them to deposit their feces and urine while I was out to work?
When I entered the room, pretty much the whole room was covered in feces and urine.
That is very strange because I had just finished cleaning the room before leaving to work.
I'm sorry, Mr. Molly, you're gonna have to ask him a question. If you'd like to testify to the state of the room, you would do so during your case in chief.
Okay, so let's go ahead and pass the witness to.
Okay? Any further questions, Mr. Alonso?
No further questions, Your Honor. May this witness be excused.
Before I excuse you, Mr. Barrera, can I have your badge number? 14892, okay.
Can I have the badge?
Yes, it's 14892. All right, and if you can pass me those exhibits, Mr. Barrera. Thank you, I appreciate it. All right, exhibits A and B are entered into evidence. Okay, any further witnesses, Mr. Alonso?
Final witness for the city judge would be Animal Control Officer Homer Gonzalez.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, come on up. It's Gonzalez with a Z, right? Just check it. All right, Mr. Gonzalez, can I get your badge number?
14297.
14297. All right, Officer Gonzalez, hold up your right hand. Officer Gonzalez, do you solemnly swear and affirm that you're about to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this case, so help you God? All right, go ahead and take a seat, sir. All right, Mr. Alonso, you may begin questioning.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Gonzalez, how long have you been employed with the Animal Control or Animal Cares Department with the city of McAllen?
Approximately 4.5 years.
Okay, and what is your official title currently, officer?
I'm the supervisor for animal care service.
Okay, and in your time with the city, is it safe to say that you responded to numerous calls for welfare of animals?
Correct.
Okay, now I'm going to point you to one specific call. The call on April 4th, 2024, where you called out to,
Yes, sir, I was.
okay, what was the reason for that call out? What was your assistance needed for, Officer Gonzalez?
Approximately about 12:30 p.m., dispatch called me, letting me know that police officers needed assistance from all animal wardens at that location. So we made our way over there.
Okay, so when you actually got to the location, what were some of the first steps that you took?
When I arrived, I spoke to Assistant Chief Foley, and he briefed me on the situation, and then he told me Officer Chapa was the lead officer. Then I spoke to him, and he briefed me on what was going on.
Okay, what was that briefing that you received?
He told me the gentleman from this premises had been arrested, and we needed to assist in picking up all these animals.
Okay, so was that your role, assistance of extracting the animals from the home?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I'm gonna ask if Your Honor can have him see Exhibit A.
Sure.
Now, Officer Gonzalez, I'm gonna,
Hold on, Mr. Alonso, I'm sorry. Let the record reflect that Exhibit A is being handed to the witness, Officer Omar Gonzalez.
Officer Gonzalez, if you can, I'm going to ask you to review the first 2 pages of Exhibit A, which should include the list of 68 animals taken from that property.
Yes, yes, sir.
I'm going to give you a couple of a minute or two to review that, officer. Now, officer, with Exhibit A, is it your understanding that each of the animals depicted and listed through that exhibit are indeed each of the animals that were located and being confined at?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and officer, can you describe the conditions of the animals that you saw on that day?
The condition of the animals, yes, they looked like they were fed, but they were confined into very small areas known as dog kennels. Then, of course, the back room contained approximately 50 cats roaming free in that area.
Okay. Now, in your training and experience, did you actually go into that back patio area, that back patio room?
Yes, sir, I sure did.
What were some of your observations in that room?
In the process of my officers taking some of the animals out, halfway through, I went in there and assisted them, and I went inside the room, and there was not one clean spot on the floor that I could step on. There was feces, torn newspapers, trash, all over the floor.
Okay, and is it safe to say that was true of the majority of the house where the animals were being confined?
The majority of the house was full of debris and clutter. There was very minimal walkway. And yes, the floors were dingy from feces, I guess, being stepped on and tracked all over the house.
Okay, now in your opinion and through your training and experience as an animal control or animal care officer, is it your opinion that each of the animals listed in Exhibit A, that they were being cruelly confined at?
Yes, sir.
Again, can you please explain to the court why you believe that is the case?
I remember the white husky in a large plastic kennel, dog kennel, and barely had room enough to rotate in there. Then I remember the reddish brown husky as well, contained to another kennel. Just you could see the feces and trash in there, and approximately 5 to 6 cats in cat carriers or cat kennels. And those did have layers and layers of cardboard, trash, paper. Like it was said, that seemed like feces was there. They just added a clean paper on top, and it just kept getting smaller for the animal.
Okay. And again, I just want to make clear that, is it your opinion that each of the 68 animals that are listed in Exhibit A, were they being cruelly confined at that location?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, officer, did you get any status updates from either your officers or another individual as far as the health of the animals?
A day or two later, Faith Wright, the director for Palm Valley Animal Society, did text me that 10 to 12 cats had ringworm, and another 10 to 12 were pregnant.
Can you imagine? There were at least 50 cats in that room, per the testimony of each of the officers. Can you imagine if each of those 10 to 12 had their litter of kittens in his home?
And they were, going to deliver within the next 2 to 3 weeks after that.
Now, did she indicate that each of the animals that were located at that property, that each of them appeared to be in poor health?
Yes, when we were there removing, they were assisting us to put the kennels inside their van. They did, it was in poor conditions.
Okay. Now, is it your opinion that each of the animals listed in Exhibit A, that none of the animals listed were receiving the necessary and adequate care that is required for these animals?
Care, I would say no, as far as cleanliness and being out in the air, in the open air. No, there was none of that.
Thank you, officer. Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Any questions for Officer Gonzalez, Mr. Molly?
Yeah. The officer, you said also Chapa was a team officer,
Yes, sir.
and hold on. Did Officer Chapa say Sorry. Did Officer Chapa say why I was being arrested?
No,
Under what charge?
no, sir.
In your opinion, would you say that it was because they wanted me out of the house?
I don't have an opinion in this, sir.
You said the animals were fed.
I did, in the cat room, there was a bowl with water, and there was a bowl with cat food in the middle of all the feces and urine.
You sure there was one of each, or there was multiple ones?
I don't recall, sir. I did go in there just trying to get out of this quick as possible because of the ammonia smell, removing all the cats.
On the feces situation, you said that you could barely walk. Would you say that instead of feces, you were seeing stains of feces, maybe on the cement floor?
It was not, I couldn't even tell you the color of the floor since it was covered with brown matter, newspaper.
Cement is cement. You know that it's dark gray. So,
And poop is poop.
I'd like to ask you again, were these feces, that is something on the surface of the cement that was stuck to it, or was it just a stain?
It was both. There was dark stains and there was fresh poop that I stepped on and literally had to wipe my foot on newspaper that was on the ground just to continue working in there.
How convenient. You said the animals were somehow, to your opinion, in poor conditions. Were there any of these animals vomiting, throwing up on the floor, lying down with downward ears, or, somehow nauseated, or in any way with any kind of malignancy that you think of?
No, sir.
So you wouldn't say that there would be any of these animals that were dehydrated or malnutrition?
No, sir. From my experience, I couldn't tell you if they were dehydrated or not fed.
In your opinion, as many years you've been with an animal control, you should know better. I mean, and obviously you are testifying here today that you're disagreeing with some of the other witnesses that say that they were poorly treated and malnourished and dehydrated. Thank you for your testimony.
All right, any further questions, Mr. Alonso?
Nothing further for this witness, Judge. May he be excused?
You may step down, Officer Gonzalez. Thank you. All right, any further witnesses for the state?
No further witnesses at this time, Your Honor.
All right, before we take up Mr. Molit's case in chief, I'd like to give everyone a break. We've sat here through a lot of testimony so far, so let's go ahead and take try to do 5-minute break. Mr. Molly, do you need a bathroom break so the officers can escort you?
This time, Your Honor, I don't know what I need, but
You're okay?
no,
Would you like any water, anything like that, sir? Okay,
I'm just very distraught by the turnout of events.
okay. All right, well, we're going to talk about it when we get back on the record in 5 minutes. Okay, Mr. Molly? All right, everyone's in recess for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Alonso, my understanding is the state at this time intends to call no further witnesses. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Molly, so now it's your turn of the case. The burden is on the state to prove animal cruelty. If you believe they have not done their job, you don't have to put on any evidence. You don't have to ask any questions if you don't want to, and you don't have to testify. However, if you do want to testify, Mr. Molly, I do have to warn you because you currently are facing criminal charges, that anything you say on the stand, if you choose to testify, can and probably will be used against you later in a court of law. So anything you say on the stand, they can use in your criminal case. You always have the right not to testify, even in these civil proceedings. You have the right to the Fifth Amendment, which says that you don't have to testify, you can plead the Fifth and not answer any questions. If you do testify in this case, not only do you get to tell me your side of the story, but then Mr. Alonso, because you are a witness, gets to question you regarding this case. So you would have to answer any of his questions once you testify. Knowing all that, is there any witnesses you wish to present, or do you wish to testify yourself?
Again, Your Honor, I didn't know I was facing a trial today, or even if it's about with the municipal court, I was told that I was just seeing a visitor. Again, I'm not totally at all prepared for anything like this, but I would like to request kind of like a closing statement if I can.
Yes, you definitely are able to give a closing argument. So I just need to know right now if you intend to testify. If you do not intend to testify, then we would move on to the closing arguments part of this hearing. Mr. Alonso would get to give the closing argument first because it's his burden to prove this. And then you would get to give any counter argument that you want to give. And then at the end, Mr. Alonso can come back and argue against any counter arguments because the burden is his to prove this case.
And once again, while he's playing victim of, I didn't know anything, Your Honor, I didn't have a chance to prepare. He had 1 week, you guys. 1 week that he knew of this hearing. So this baloney about I was so unprepared because I didn't know anything, it's garbage. It's a it's a red herring. He knew.
Then once the closing arguments are done, I'll probably take a couple of minutes, go to my chambers and make a decision on this case. So do you think you want to just not present any witnesses or testify and go straight to the arguments?
Yes, Your Honor, I prefer not to testify at this time. I don't have any witnesses here today.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, Mr. Alonso, let's go ahead and start with closing arguments. Do you need a second? Or are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go for it, Judge.
Are you fine with giving them seated so that way we capture them on the microphone?
Yes, Your Honor, I
Okay.
can do it seated.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, this hearing is being held in accordance with Chapter 821 and the remedies that are authorized under that code. That code is designed to protect animals from cruel treatment that they have had to endure and to allow for final disposition of these said animals. Now today, Your Honor, after all the testimony that has been given and all the witness observations that have been delivered to the court, the city is asking the court to find that there was animal cruelty as defined in the Health and Safety Code. And specifically, Judge, that each of the 68 animals that are found in the admitted city's Exhibit A for the purposes of this hearing, each of the 68 animals, which include 60 cats, 6 dogs, 1 turtle, as well as 1 macaw parrot, the city is asking that this honorable court find that these animals each were cruelly treated due to being unreasonably deprived of the necessary food, care, or shelter, as well as being cruelly confined, Your Honor. Now, I do want to note that only one of those is needed for the finding of cruelly treated. Now, specifically, Judge, with the evidence and information that was presented to the court today, and through pictures that have been submitted and admitted into evidence as City's Exhibit B, it is clear, Judge, that the animals that were extracted from the house were cruelly treated due to their cruel confinement and their lack of necessary care. Now, Mr. Moley, as the owner of that property and the owner of the animals, due to him being a person who either owned or had custody or direct control over the animals, as stated in Health and Safety Code 821.0213, he was in direct control of the animals, Judge, and due to the drastic and unfortunate conditions of the home being filled with not only a debris of accumulation, as well as the animals being forced to live and being confined within their own filth, urine, and feces, Your Honor. These animals endured cruel treatment that they never should have to, and again, never should have to go through. At this time, Judge, I believe the city has proven through the information presented through each of the officers that each of the animals was cruelly confined. And we are asking for that finding, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Moley, any arguments on your side for why I should not find that they were cruelly treated? Mr. Moley, please turn on your microphone so that way you can get your voice.
The only thing I can let you know today is that I'm not a cruel person. I'm involved with health-related professions. Even though I don't have a license to practice medicine, I have vast medical knowledge to know how to treat animals or even people. But I don't do the treatment myself. But again, these animals were my family. I'm a single person. I don't have any friends, friends, yes, but I don't have relatives or sisters or brothers or cousins or anyone here. And I don't even have a spouse, no one. And, so to me, these animals, as they were brought to me, they were part of my family. They all loved me, and I loved them all. And they all took even turns, the cats, they even took turns to even hug me and kiss me. So that shows you right there that no person that acts cruelly to an animal, the animal will react that way. The other thing I wanted to express is that These animals have been with me for several years. You know, some of these cats that were probably, you know, found to be a little thinner than usual was because they were 14 and 16 years old. I mean, this, you know, there was one that had cataracts that I was treating with soft food because he had decaying teeth, you know, and he was a little, you know, emaciated. And so he needed like, you know, extra, instead of water, milk and vitamin D3 and things like that, like a senior citizen you would do, you know. And so I tried to do my best with in each one of them to support them and to give them health and thrive and be happy. As you know, now I don't live in a palace. But the reason that I live in these poor conditions.
Your Honor, I'm going to have to object as it appears that Mr. Moley is giving testimony that is outside any evidence that was presented that his closing would be limited to, Judge.
I'm going to allow him to continue his closing. As you know, I'm well aware I have to make my decision based on what's been entered into evidence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Arguments are just arguments, all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
In other words, the judge is just going to let him rant and ramble. And she can only consider what was put on the books as evidence. So everything that he's ranting and rambling about has absolutely zero to do with her decision. But you know what? He's facing criminal charges. He may end up saying something he regrets.
You may continue, Mr. Moley.
Well, as I was saying, you know, I don't live in a luxurious place. I live in a rather humble home of, you know, and the reason I live in those poor conditions is because there are certain people that a few years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, they decided to rob me of all my money. And what I'm talking about is, you know, white collar individuals that decided upon me to take advantage of me because they saw me vulnerable and they saw me that I was by myself. And the first one doing this was my own attorney, a family attorney that I had known for 25 years. And his associates, in turn, decided to take a chunk of me as they went along. And so part of the reason I didn't have the home, and today I don't even have the money to do that, is because this attorney, whom I trusted him fully, he even handled the homeowner's insurance claim when I needed help from my homeowner's insurance when the windstorms and the hailstorms came, and he never gave me the money back. So he not only stole my pension plan, my retirement fund, even my life insurance money that I got from my mom, but he also took advantage of me with even things like the home insurance money. And in addition to that, there were other people, associates of his, that came to me with trying to help me because I was by myself and vulnerable. And they said, well, if you have such a great, you know, scoring credit, we could buy trucks and trailers and get you in a hotshot business that, you know, that one of them was very specially, supposedly. Well, I haven't seen these 4 trucks, new trucks, by the way, and 4 new trailers in 4 years. And so in addition to that, the attorney created a company on my behalf to commit what I now know it was bank fraud against Lone Star National Bank in the amount of $250,000 to benefit for his the ranch where he was living, which he was soon going to lose. So all these things put together, they even tried to that 308 West Fern Avenue home, that was my mom's house, which I inherited. They tried to even take it away from me. And if you go to the Hidalgo County Appraisal District, you will see the name of the person who tried to do that. You know, and then in turn, you know, I went to the DA, well, before he was the DA, Mr. Palacios, and I told him about this situation. And thanks to somebody that he referred me to, an attorney, I was able to gain my home back and claim my homestead. But not before this individual had put a $50,000 vendor's lien against my home. So to this day, I believe I still have that lien. So because of all these situations, I'm totally, you know, I have a home that I can claim my homestead, but I don't have any, you know, any money to do anything with. So the best I could do was to provide, again, going back to these creatures who I love so much. I was even, you know, graciously donating my own blood plasma. This past year, 104 times I've donated blood plasma to make enough money to meet with their malnourishment or, you know, the nourishment of these animals as they were brought to me. And also their, you know, their well-being, giving my shelter as best as I could. and provide for their, their thriving, their health, their happiness as much as I could give them, but, it's just me. There is so much I can do. Like they say on KGBT Channel 4, there is a commercial that comes out almost every day, I think, that I saw while being in jail. And it says, well, it talks about stray animals, cats, dogs, what have you. And the last scene of the commercial says, between you, I, all of us, let's make them all survive. Let's take care of them.
All right, we're gonna go back on the record and cause number 240-16369 in the matter of Jose Antonio Moli, which is a seizure of 68 animals from the address at, let's see. Uh, 3 that when it comes to all 68 animals, there will be a civil finding of animal cruelty. That will include in the court's order a definition of that the animals were unreasonably deprived of necessary shelter, necessary care, and that they were cruelly confined due to conditions of their confinement, including 2 small kennels, dirty areas that they were being kept in, and due to the state of the home where they were being held. Now, this is just a civil finding, Mr. Moley, so this does not mean that you are going to be guilty of the criminal charges. The burden that I have today is more likely than not. The burden at a criminal trial is beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a much higher burden. So this finding today doesn't mean that the criminal cases, we're making any findings that affect that going forward, okay? All this is for is to divest ownership of the animals. Now, I am going to find at this point that I have heard no evidence that the animals are in such dire conditions that any animal will need to be euthanized by the court. So instead, I am going to order that these animals, once they are divested, will be given into the care of Palm Valley Animal Society, and that Palm Valley can then foster them out or whatever they need to do with them. At this time, I know that Mr. Alonso, you did ask for costs, and that is going to take some time to get. So I'm not going to render a final judgment until I have those costs. And then once we have those costs for the necessary order, judgment will be rendered on that day. We will go ahead and forward judgment to all parties because there is an issue with the costs. So, Mr. Moley, I heard your testimony about kind of the situation that you're currently in with that attorney and then with the criminal charges. So the state is currently asking for costs. They are going to get us that number from Palm Valley Animal Shelter. And usually, as part of these orders, you are assessed costs of sheltering the animals. Now, I will tell you in prior cases where we've done this, the animals have been much fewer in number, and we're still looking into the thousands of dollars. So it is going to be a pretty big number, I would anticipate. That number will be included on the order, but that number is important because if you want to appeal that case, there is a bond that would need to be filed for the appeal, and that number figures into that appeal. If you would like to appeal my decision, which again is solely related to the ownership of the animals and divesting that ownership from you, you can appeal it to a county court at law. So to appeal, instead of an appellate court, you would go to a county court at law. You have 10 days from the day I enter my final order. And Mr. Alonso, I know usually it's from when judgment is rendered, but because we are waiting on those numbers, I am going to have to say 10 days from my final order to appeal this case to a county court at law. If you want to appeal, you do have to give written notice within 10 days, and you would need to also file an appeal bond on this case. The reason I said that number that Mr. Alonso is going to provide is important is because in order to do an appeal bond for this case, the appeal bond is the amount of money that they're asking for in costs incurred already, plus the amount of money that would need to be incurred to keep the animals at the shelter or wherever they're currently being held during the appeal. And from my estimates that I've had in prior cases, Mr. Moley, because there are so many animals, usually we look at Palm Valley assessing around $20 a day per animal. it's going to be a very large amount of money. You're probably looking at about $34,000 just to house the animals.
I don't have that money,
Yes,
man.
and because that is such a large amount of money, obviously that makes the appeal bond harder to post. Now, if you did by some means post the appeal bond or asked for an indigency bond and wanted to go ahead and appeal, once you said you would want it to appeal and the court orders that appeal, we have 5 days to get the records to the county court. And then when they get the county court records, the county court within 10 days has to have an entire new trial. You actually get a de novo or a new trial on these matters. So if you are interested in appealing, please let us know because you do need to get in that written appeal within 10 days of my order. Yes, Mr.
And Your Honor,
Olson.
so that there's no issue with any timing requirements or appeal. I know that we were waiting on some final facts and figures from Palm Valley for the care of the animals.
Mhm.
I believe we can provide those in the next 5 minutes, Judge, so that an order
Okay.
can be final.
That way we can give Mr. Moley a copy of the order before he leaves that has all the numbers laid out that he would need for the appeal bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you can get those to me within 5 minutes, I can get out the order today.
We will do that, Judge.
And so
You're-
you're gonna
you're-
have,
I'm
Yes.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but how can I get an attorney to help me with all this? Because this is all, I haven't studied all this.
so
stuff.
if you would like to hire an attorney, you could call the local bar. They may be able to refer you to somebody. Or you can call around from the county jail to attorneys' offices and see if anybody would take these types of cases. I can't suggest an attorney. To be honest, I don't think we've ever had an attorney on a cruelly treated animals case. All of our defendants have been pro se. I know that there are attorneys that do dog bite cases, but I haven't heard of anybody doing these. But there may be an attorney out there. You would just need to call some attorneys and see if they can refer you to anybody.
From the county jail, I cannot call anyone.
You have access to phones at county jail, Mr. Molly, and you can make calls out.
Yes, but the calls are limited.
Yes, the calls are limited, but again, you can call out to attorneys. And as far as I know, the county jail does not limit phone calls to your attorneys once you've had counsel assigned. Or
I
hired.
was told it was just one call.
No, sir, you have access to the phones at county. You're not limited to one call. So that would be my suggestion, Mr. Molly. I can't suggest anybody that you should hire for this case. Like you said, I really haven't had any attorneys on my court for these issues before. All right, Mr. Alonso, do you think you can get me those numbers within 5 minutes?
Have those numbers presently.
Okay.
After, again, we were waiting on some facts and figures from Palm Valley, but for the care and housing of the animals, Judge, the figures for each of the 68 animals combined totals up to $30,629, Your Honor.
For the last 22 days?
That's correct, Judge.
I'm sorry, 30,000.
$629.
Okay, so if I break that down. $30,629. Roughly about 450.43 per day. Okay. Using those numbers, I'm actually going to use an adjusted, so if it ended up being 450 per day, with the appeals process, which is usually about 25 additional days, right? We have 450 times 68 animals. So, I'm sorry, it's 450 per day for all 68 animals. Is that correct, Mr. Alonso? From your original number you gave me?
I believe so, Judge.
Give me a second. All right, it was 629 divided by 22 days. It's 1,392 per day divided by the 68 animals, which roughly comes out to about 2047 per animal per day.
That's the number that I have, Judge.
Okay, so I was actually basing my numbers for appeal based on a $20 a day per animal, so I'm gonna keep it as that.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's coming.
So the amount that they're asking for currently, Mr. Molly, is $30,629. And then the likely cost for the appeals process is going to be $34,000 for all 68 animals. Therefore, the amount of bond necessary to perfect an appeal would be 63,000, I'm sorry, not 63,000. It would be $64,629 in order to appeal. All right.
And let me go back to where we all started today. If I had signed that form that he wanted me to sign, what would have been the outcome on this?
The outcome would have been no finding.
Can I then go ahead and,
You can't do it now that we've had the hearing, sir. There's been a finding entered by the court. And they wouldn't allow you to sign it anyway at this point because you did bring up that there may have been some issues with ownership of those animals, so you could not have completed the form because it is a sworn statement under law. So it can be done at a later point now. So basically, Mr. Molly, if you cannot afford to pay the costs, you can always claim indigency. We do have indigency hearings here at the court where you can prove to the court that you can afford to pay those fines or those costs incurred by the city. And we can take that up at a later time. It doesn't have to be done now or even shortly. I know you do have some more important pressing matters with the criminal cases that are now pending. And as I said, if you would like to appeal, that is a large amount and that those bonds would need to be entered due to the amount of care that are needing to be given to these animals at the animal shelter. So if after 10 days from today, we have not received a notice of appeal and an appeal bond has not been posted, this order will be final. All right, anything for you, Mr. Alonso, before we?
Nothing further from the city, Your Honor.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to give you a copy of this order right now. I'm actually going to print it out. Give me about 5 minutes and we should be done.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we can go ahead and end this hearing. Ms. Patty, if you want to end the YouTube.
Wow. I am sorry to those who were emotionally disturbed by that case. But I feel sometimes we have to play the hard ones like that. That was intense. And thank you, Catherine Gaston, for all of the additional information. She had informed us that he had 2 female cousins in on this racket. A lot of the dogs were stolen. The animals were microchipped, and the authorities are trying to find the original owners of the animals. There's a petition for higher charge. The 2 females had 94 animals in their possession. So with his 68 and then the 94 were, what is that, 154? Is my math right? I just did that top of my head. Going back to where 162. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Yep. Hey, it's 2:10 a.m. My brain broke a long time ago. Normally I'm really good at math. I'm too tired to think. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that. There's a likelihood that his 2 cousins may be arraigned in the same court. I am going to and the roaches. Yeah. I'm gonna see if their case pops up. I might have I might have a tag along case to this one. And I don't know where the criminal charges are going to be held because this is a municipal hearing. This was all they wanted was possession of the animals. That's it. They didn't have to do all that. He could have just signed it. There would have been no additional fees. If he had signed that petition, no extra charges, no extra fines, just hand over possession, go like that, and walk away and face your criminal charges. He didn't want to do that. I don't know what he thought he was going to accomplish there. I really don't. I can't even put my brain on it. Oh, wow. Well, you know what? Good. Shut them all down. Whatever they were doing with those animals. I don't think it would have been fighting because of the multiple breeds that were mentioned. But I might be wrong. Who knows? Maybe, if they were fighting, maybe it was bait dogs. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like any bit of it. I was very, very, very bothered. But see, my dad was animal control. He ran an animal shelter. I grew up working in the animal shelter with him. And by working, I mean, scooping cat boxes and then playing with the dogs and the cats. That's it. That was what I did. I'd take them outside. I'd play with them. And, I'd clean out the kennels and spray the trough, the poo trough, spray that out with the big hose and spray Ozium all over. And you know what's really, really funny? Give me 2 seconds here. Ozium was the air freshener used in the animal shelter. I still use it today. I had it up on my dresser. I still use Ozium spray because it's such a nostalgic smell for me. I remember it from being a child, and it deodorizes anything, So it's better than Febreze in my opinion. Yeah, that was a rough case. But all I can think of is, the judge said none of the animals had to be euthanized. Now, some of the dogs had parvo, and that spreads, and that can be very deadly, especially to younger dogs or senior dogs. And there was a mix of both. So, yes, she is. But every time I look at her, that tail starts going. That tail. Hi. Everybody wants to know, are you abused? Are you abused? Yeah. Should we check? Should we check? Call the hotline. My owner is so cruel to me. She makes me do tricks online and in exchange feeds me treats and starves me 99% of the day otherwise. That's what she'll tell them. Hi, Goofy. Hi, Goofy face. How my pretty girl. Come on, where's Mama Talking Loves? Where Mama loves? Oh, I love you. Is the rain bugging your arthritis? You seem like you're in pain. I might have to get out one of your dog pain pills. I might need to get out your doggy pain pill. She's having a rough go tonight, guys. She's acting just as sore as me. Isn't she though? Isn't she though? Right? Well, no, she does need to hear it because she needs to know how good she's got it. No, she knows. What you kicking? What you kicking, Bigfoot? She knows how good she's got it because she came from a guy who thought he was going to rescue animals. Yeah, Mother Hubbard's cupboard's getting really empty, so she's only got 2 of these left, and then she's got the marrow bones, but I can't give her those every single night. Can't give her those every single night. She needs some. I need to go Ava shopping. And Billy's shopping. Jeez Louise. Hey, meh. Wow. Wow. Oh, I can hear the lips chomping, lip smacking. Yeah. Oh, you're getting it all over my floor. All over they can't even see you dropping it all over my floor. All over. Oh, you're not even going to share with Billy, are you? Billy doesn't even get a lick. Can't even get a little morsel. Yeah, they're 45 minutes from me, though. I just order online. Yeah. Well, the cats, they're awake all the time, even when they're sleeping. Earl's favorite thing are those dang squeezing sticks, the delectables. These types of things. These are Earl's favorite. But you know what that means? It means I have to squeeze them. And you know what that means? It means that I get salmon puree all over my fingers and salmon puree, schlopped all over my stuff. Right, Earl? These are your favorite, huh? Right, buds? Should I give you one? I see Billy looking too. I see Billy looking. Isn't that right, buddy? Ava, can I have my drawer back? Come on over here, babes. Good girl. Good girl. Do I have any more? Oh, I have one more of these. Oh, goody. One for each of the boys. You're hilarious. You're hilarious, Ardo. Yes, Melanie Copeland. They do not smell grand. You're very quick to get over here all the way from the front door or, threshold. You wasted no time. Speaking of the Earl, the Duke of Earl, Come on, y'all gotta like rearrange yourselves here, because this is not gonna work. Earl. You want some more, Billy? Well, come here, doof. Come here, doof. I'm not going to keep, swinging it back and forth around on the camera. Yeah, this is your favorite. You're such a good boy. Such a good boy. Oh, no. Billy, you make the goofiest faces. I'm not even going to put that. Oh, Catherine Gaston, that's so sad. Happy Easter, Catherine Gaston. All right, I gotta do this squeeze. The ultimate squeeze to get every last drop out of here. All right, come here, Billy. Billy. Or Earl, I don't care. One of y'all gotta get that. Ava, you leave that alone. I'll let the dog have it if you don't want to come get it. I didn't even have to open the second treat stick because y'all ate earlier. Yeah, that was crazy. I'm so sad about that. All right, guys. It is 2:30 in the morning. I know I have a couple more animal dockets from, I mean, I don't want to say super recently, but relatively recently. So I'm going to look and see if his cousins are on one of those. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I really appreciate all of you. And I promise I'll be back soon. Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.